Are you looking for better shooting experience? How about a facility where you can shoot all of your firearms in the same day, where you can move and shoot steel, draw from the holster, and practice your rifle work up to 600 yards? Shoot a very challenging sporting clays course or a round of trap or skeet. You can do all that and much more at the Aurora Sportsman's Club. Hi, I'm David Lombardo, president of the Aurora Sportsman's Club. If you love the outdoors, you'll want to know all about Northern Illinois' largest outdoor shooting facility, the Aurora Sportsman's Club. If you're a novice looking for a basic course, an experienced shooter looking for an advanced course, or perhaps you want to participate in your favorite shooting event, or just spend an enjoyable day with a family, the Aurora Sportsman's Club is the only shooting facility in the region that offers all that and more. Interested? Then you won't want to miss the next orientation and tour of the Aurora Sportsman's Club. Call, email, or visit our website today to find out how you can become part of a better shooting experience at the Aurora Sportsman's Club in Waterman, Illinois.
He is the human Molotov cocktail that they can legally throw into the system that stole their lives from them.
So we're going to create a new government that serves you, your family, and your country.
It's time for On Target Radio, Chicagoland's only radio show dedicated to the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech. Now, debating, debunking, and discussing today's hot issues, here are your hosts, David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz.
Welcome to On Target Radio. Tonight, David's rant of the week is 10 Wishes for the New Year, with David and Gretchen talking about more national reciprocity issues. Then, David and Gretchen will take a look at the 7 biggest conservative wins of 2017. And wait until you hear the latest idea out of Chicago to rein in the crime and violence. You will not believe it. And finally, the NFL continues to tank. All that and more on tonight's On Target Radio. So give us a call at 815-205-1584. That's 815-205-1584. Or go to Facebook, like our page On Target Radio, and ask a question or make a comment there.
Today's Rant of the Week and more of David's work can be found at bearingarms.com. And now, from the seething cauldron of personal opinion, it's David's Rant of the Week.
I know you're supposed to make New Year's Eve resolutions, but the fact is, I did that for the better part of 50 years, and I don't think I ever kept one of them. The problem is, I can resist anything except temptation. So, I take the road less traveled, and every year I come up with my New Year's wish list. In no particular order, my 2018 wish list is 1. World peace. Can't we all just get along? 2. All golden retrievers will have happy, loving homes with lots of squeak toys and ample game birds to retrieve. 3. Give John Q. Public the freedom to travel anywhere in the United States and be able to carry a really big gun with a large capacity magazine. You didn't really think my list was going to go on with all that touchy-feely stuff, did you? No, I mean, I carry a gun everywhere I go. I don't have a lot of faith in achieving world peace, let alone anything akin to it in Chicago. And let's be specific about this. National concealed carry falls under the 14th Amendment. The purpose of the 14th Amendment is to give Congress the power to act against state infringements of national civil rights, as recently explained in an article called Congress Should Use Constitutional Power to Force States to Honor Gun Rights. 4. They take that statue of a revolver with the barrel twisted into a knot that's in front of the UN, and Secretary General Antonio Guterres sticks it where the sun don't shine. In fact, they can take the entire United Nations, the whole complex, and stick it where the sun don't shine. 5. While we're on the subject of the United Nations, they can also take their 348-page Agenda 21 and stick it collectively where the sun don't shine. The United States is already full of liberal, anti-gun, freedom-hating whack jobs. We're all full up on stupidity. 6. Read my lips. They are not assault weapons. They're not military weapons. They're not automatic weapons. AR-15s are modern sporting rifles, and I don't need to justify why I need them any more than dumbass comedians can justify why anyone should give them a damn about what they think about the Second Amendment. 7. All cops should be given 3 free shots a year with a use 'em or lose 'em deadline of the fiscal year based on the cop's birthday. Now, just take the shot and fill out the official chit. Now, that is going to have a chilling effect on crime because no criminal would know when the cop's birthday is. It could be tomorrow, and he has 1 shot left. Use it or lose it. Now, before you bleeding heart liberals start sending me profanity-laced email, let me reassure you that there would be strict controls. Every chit would be reviewed by a completely impartial Council on Performance Standards, called COPS for short, who would make sure it was legitimate shoot. It couldn't be your ex-spouse trying to get their fangs into your pension, for instance. No, it has to be an egregious act against society to qualify, but snatch a purse from a little old lady walking down the street, pow! Fill out the chit and collect 3 more shots tomorrow as a birthday present. Number 8, eliminate ATF entirely. Or, as an alternative, since the entire infrastructure already exists, change the mission of the alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and explosive group to one more in keeping with its name, such as a fraternity party planning operation. Number 9. Could you Antifa loose wingnuts make up your mind and get this war you want to start going? I've been practicing to the tune of about 100 rounds a day, nicely divided between carbine and pistol. The problem is, I've been doing this for about 2 years since you first started whining like petulant children who don't get a second container of chocolate milk before your nap. All this shooting is beginning to deplete my ammo supply. I'm down about 25% now. And by the way, would you please Google the definition of fascism? You unwashed, illiterate whiners. What you're doing is the definition of fascism. 10. And finally, for the love of all that's holy, will you please stop being conspiracy theorists? It's embarrassing to truly intelligent gun owners. It is in theory. They really are conspiring to disarm you. And it has nothing to do with the children or victims of gun violence. Liberals don't give a rat's butt about innocent victims of violence. They step over victims of violence to get closer to the news camera so they can talk about how much they care. And if only we had one more gun law. If they really did care, Bloomberg would be putting all that money and effort into real solutions rather than disarming law-abiding citizens. Open your eyes. When a truck runs over and kills a bunch of people and the liberals immediately say we need more gun control, they're not the slightest concerned about those victims. They want your guns because an armed John Q. public is the only real deterrent to an oppressive government. Law-abiding gun owners are the line of demarcation between a society of the people, by the people, and for the people, and a totalitarian government. You are the militia. Be armed, be trained, and be ready. And that, Gretchen, is my rant for the end of 2017.
World peace through superior firepower.
And, you know, an armed society is a polite society. Exactly. I don't know. We'll see how much hate mail I get on that one.
This morning in church, the pastor was preaching about the fruits of the Spirit, and he was focusing on gentleness today, and you know, talking about that, and it just made me think: be polite, be professional, but know how you're going to kill everyone.
Exactly. There's a lot to be said for that. Preparation, you know. It's interesting. In point of fact, there's a very strong argument to be made that national reciprocity falls under the 14th Amendment. There's a very strong case for that, because that's exactly, if it's a constitutional right, which
it is,
it's in the Constitution. The 14th Amendment is designed, actually goes back, I think, post-Civil War, because they were trying to keep blacks from owning guns.
Reconstruction,
yeah.
Right. And so, yeah, it actually was initially passed to help enforce the Second Amendment.
Exactly. So I don't see any reason it shouldn't pass. Now, here's the interesting thing, because we know it'll be a tough sell in the Senate, but they do point out something very interesting in this article, and that is, what is it? Was it 13 senators? I can't remember now. I think it was 13 Democratic senators that voted for a gun bill, not recently, but in the past, and they're still in the Senate. Because
I didn't see that part.
They come from states, and they're up for re-election in this go-round.
Oh, sure.
They come from states that are pro-gun states, and they're like treading on thin ice.
Oh, that's not in this packet because
It's buried a little deeper.
It's number 2, yeah. Because I didn't look at this one.
Yeah, it's the second page.
Yeah, because the first article is just talking about the 14th Amendment.
Right.
And other constitutional arguments for it.
So it's not really out of the question that this it could go through.
It's a long shot, I think.
I
But
wouldn't bet on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm certainly not holding my breath, but I also like what they say about. There was a Supreme Court case in 1999 called Sands versus Roe, and that was basically saying that the right to interstate travel is also a civil right, that the travelers have the right to be treated as a welcome visitor rather than an unfriendly alien when temporarily present in another state. So that's another constitutional, support for the Reciprocity Act.
Well, yeah. Look at New Jersey. That woman.
Right, and that's that's always, of course, the best example. New Jersey, if you bring a gun into New Jersey, the penalty is mandatory sentence of at least 3.5 years in prison.
And that's if you've done nothing else.
Right, you just brought it in.
You thought legally were carrying a gun into New Jersey. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing that's interesting about that.
Or even, there are people who have accidentally crossed Jersey state lines. They had concealed carry in an adjacent state. They, just accidentally, either there's a detour on the road or they didn't realize this road actually went through New Jersey, whatever,
Right.
and they just, accidentally found themselves crossing that state line.
Or the guy they were going to hit crossed the line and they followed him.
And they had to follow him, right?
Yeah. There's a certain
I'm an upstanding businessman.
there's a certain element of irony that New Jersey has that sort of will lock you up if you have a gun.
So draconian.
Because they're whacking guys left and right in Jersey. You know what I'm saying? Those guys from New York, we got to whack them. Actually, we're almost out of time in this segment. So when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about whether or not concealed carry will pass. Or not concealed carry, but reciprocity. So we got a couple of things we'll talk about. And we should do a little toast right now, don't you think?
You have 17 seconds.
Here's to you.
Cheers.
Eric, here's to you, buddy. New Year's coming up. We'll drink this and more when we return with more on Target Radio.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. The On Target Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invite you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com.
Or call 815-741-3474. That's 815-741-3474. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
Do you dread writing? Is it challenging to find just the right words to get your point across? Do you put off developing marketing materials because you just don't know where to start? You get one chance to make a first impression, and my editor, Creative Business Services, can help make it a strong, positive one. Hi, this is Gretchen Fritz, co-host of On Target Radio, and I'd like to tell you about My Editor, a business I started to help you overcome those concerns. What you're experiencing is very common. My Editor has helped business owners, candidates for political office, and even authors and public speakers. At My Editor Creative Business Services, we can simply edit your existing work or help you develop an entire writing plan of action from initial project design through final copy. We are easy to work with and will help you get your point across in the most effective manner. If words escape you, send me an email at myeditor@mail.com. Use my editor, Creative Business Services, and go to print with confidence. That's my editor at mail.com or find us on Facebook.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
Well, it's a good way to end the year. We actually have a caller on the line. Go ahead and put us through. We have no idea who this is. Hi, how are you doing this evening?
Good evening, Dave. It's Johnny Span from the Aurora Sportsman's Club.
It's the man again. The man. How you doing?
Good, good, good. Just wanted to wish you guys a very happy New Year. You all look wonderful. Looks like you're having a nice time there.
Thank you, John. Happy New Year to you, too.
Yeah.
Happy New Year, Gretchen. Happy New Year, Eric.
If you're here, you could have champagne with us.
No, unfortunately, I'm only looking at you two.
It's not actually champagne.
That's okay.
Oh, champagne.
Yeah, right, I bet.
To John.
John's band.
There you go.
Cheers.
You got the show, John. We're just going to drink.
Okay. Well, Dave, I really appreciate the fact that when you did your rant tonight, you didn't hold back at all. It's nice to see you uncensored and speaking your mind for once.
Well, we'll see how that works out in the long run. I'm not sure, but...
We're in the process of lowering his inhibitions right now.
Yeah. You know what?
Well, I just want to...
I was just going to say, my last week's rant, Bearing Arms publishes my rant, right? But it's like a week later. My last week's rant got 50,000 hits.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's interesting.
Nicely done.
Yeah. So, John, did you actually have something pithy to share with us?
Just two quick things. I just finished reading my latest copy of Illinois Shooter, and I read your article and Gretchen's article. Enjoyed them both very much.
I haven't even seen it yet.
Yeah, I haven't. I didn't get my mail today.
That's good. Somebody gets it.
And the other thing is that for the first time in many years, I fulfilled my New Year's resolution for 2017, and I did shoot all my guns.
Well, that's good.
That's a good one.
That's a good resolution, yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of heavy lifting involved.
Did you do that over the course of the entire year?
Yeah, it took me about 8 months to do it, only because I couldn't drag everything out there all at once.
Yeah, no, I get that totally. I couldn't do it. I'd have to rent a U-Haul to drag them all out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's good. You haven't been out shooting lately, have you?
That last, about a month ago when it was that really, really warm Saturday, I was
right.
shooting,
not lately.
And that was a beautiful day.
Yeah,
no.
There was a discussion on Facebook about who's going out tomorrow. This was 2 days ago. I didn't get in that discussion. It's like 400 below zero. Yeah.
Yeah, and if anybody shows up,
I like you.
If anybody shows up for concealed carry on Saturday,
guess
who's going to be out on the range?
Bingo. Yeah, John, I'm the same way. Well, and you know what? Here's the thing. It's, I'm a tactical guy, right, John? And here's the thing. Everybody knows this. This is fact. This is not prejudice. This is fact. Mopes never get up before noon, and they never go outside in cold weather. So I limit my training to after lunch in warm weather, because it's you train as you fight, you fight as you train. Exactly, right. You're not going to find me out there. Anyway,
I agree with that 100%. It's a lot more fun when the temperatures.
It is. It's better.
It is.
Yeah. Well, it's good. I hope you have a happy New Year, John.
Well, I wish you guys all the best in 2018, and I'll keep on watching.
I appreciate that, partner.
Thank you.
We'll see you. All right. So anyway, we're back to national reciprocity. I don't. It's really hard to predict because there are Democrats that may very well cross over. They need 60 votes, and they have I think 39 sponsors now.
Okay.
So 49,
but
59.
They said there's some Republicans they expect will not vote for it.
Yeah, that's
true.
true.
Then we need some extra Democrats.
Which is why it's really hard to predict.
Right. Well, the numbers that you were saying before, only 7 of those 13 Democrats who voted for a version of Cornyn's bill, only 7 of them are still in office. and 5 of them are up for re-election, along with several other Democrats in gun-friendly states. So, you know, we can hope for some Democrats to vote for it, but...
The problem is they'll probably be offset by the Republican scurrilous dogs that don't.
Right. I mean, it's, you know, you can't exactly bank on it. It's, you know, we can hope for it, but we can't bank on it.
Yeah, keep hoping. The last piece that we had, actually, for the last segment, that I put this in here because it just tickles me that people can be dumb as bricks. This is, this guy, I'm not talking about him being dumb as bricks. I'm talking about general population. This is a state rep, and he's a Democrat, and he's put forth legislation. I'm not sure. Is he from New York? I didn't quite catch where he's from.
Yeah, this is Waco. I don't know where that
It doesn't
is.
matter. But he's a Democrat. He put forth legislation that says you can't shoot in the air like on New Year's and stuff. I don't have a problem with this legislation. Well, I have a problem that do you really need this
Well,
legislation?
I was going to say, my problem with it is we already have laws about negligent
Yeah.
discharge. And so, you know, I don't think it's necessary.
But as he says, and it's true, I haven't read it, but from what he says this doesn't affect anybody's right to buy a gun and carry it or anything like that. He got shot in the head last year.
Right, exactly. Last New Year's Eve,
Yeah.
he got hit by a stray bullet.
What people don't seem to grasp is when you shoot a gun in the air, it's going to come down someplace.
What goes up must come
Yeah,
down. I remind them of that every time I teach concealed carry.
I guarantee you, if we stand outside this door at midnight, you're going to hear gunshots.
Really? Here?
I guarantee it.
Down by where my mom used to live? Totally.
No, that's every night.
Total. Well, it's...
Yeah.
There's about a half a dozen holidays a year where
Yeah.
they do that.
Groundhog Day and
Well,
Valentine's Day.
It's like, you know, the Festival of Guadalupe and, you know.
And there's Festivus.
Well, for the rest of us. There's, you know, Mexican Independence Day, things like
Exactly.
that.
There's nothing like celebrating Mexican Independence Day by shooting.
So when we went to, my dad and I went to the Christmas Eve thing that my church did at one of the people's houses, and they were having a push-up contest. And
it was Festivus.
Right. Well, that's what I told my dad. I said they apparently don't know that Festivus was yesterday. And my dad's like, what? And I'm like, oh, that's part of Festivus, is the feats of strength.
Exactly. I'm just curious. You're at a Christmas party.
Yes.
And it's
Well, it wasn't a party per se. It was a religious observance.
it was faith-based.
Yes.
It's been a long time since I read the Old and New Testament. A very long time. I don't remember push-ups in there anywhere.
Well, there's some feats of strength in the Bible.
Well, there was David and Goliath. That was
Right,
a feat.
that would be
Actually,
one.
that was mechanical advantage. It wasn't really strength because Goliath clearly was stronger.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, that was clearly, you know,
Yeah.
what today I would call a Christmas miracle. But yeah, it was.
Yeah, well.
it was, you know.
I think the whole David and Goliath thing
Divine.
actually has two really important learning things. The first one is the advantage of physics, knowing how physics works, and the second one is you really don't want to, you don't want to trust women. They start cutting your hair and stuff, and
No, that was Samson. That was a
it's
different-
close enough. Okay,
different
anyway,
story.
moving on.
Totally different story, dude.
You know what? I can't get away with anything. I just think.
You know, it's like in Princess Bride where Vicini says never go against a Sicilian when death is on the line. You know, never start a land war in Asia.
Yeah.
Never, a Catholic should not go up against a Protestant when it comes to Bible knowledge.
There's
You're
that.
gonna lose.
I own a Bible. I have a Bible.
That's excellent. Is
somewhere.
the binding cracked at all?
Well, it's very old. We had to read it once, a long time ago. I didn't understand most of it.
Well, that's why you go to church.
It's
and
written.
They help you understand it.
It's written in a strange language, English. I don't know. So anyway, here's for the second segment, which we're almost out of. I'm actually keeping track of segments this week.
That is awesome.
I'm closing the year, knowing how the show works.
Turning over a new leaf.
Yeah.
Is that your resolution to actually
It's a fig leaf.
to
Yeah.
actually follow, this thing that you put together?
How many shows? We did 215 at IND, There's 52 a year.
Mm-hmm.
November was it, so 250, that's
Right.
260 something. We're getting close to 300 shows.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I still don't know what the hell's going on. And I executive produce it. I'm the guy that does it.
Right. That's what I'm saying, is you filled this out. I'm the one that never looks at it.
I just change a few words every week, and it just... but this is an interesting... The 7 biggest conservative wins of 2017. And next week, my plan is we're going to talk about Trump, positive things that Trump has done with guns.
Okay.
But the 7 biggest conservative wins of 2017. Only a liberal could not find, well, not that he would like what Trump has done, but only a liberal would not see that he's done what he said he was going to do.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I hear that, every time I watch, like, Meet the Press or,
Yeah.
various late night television, comedians. They're like, they keep constantly saying he hasn't done anything. It's like,
Right.
where are you looking?
It's where the writers are looking.
Yeah, I can't figure it out. It's like, okay, some things that he would like to do through Congress, he's had to do by executive order, and so it's not quite as good. But, I mean, he really, really has made an effort. I mean, he's basically gone down the list and made a concerted effort to check off every box.
And the only thing he hasn't been able to do is drive a wooden stake through the heart of Obamacare. But he has done away with the requirement that you have to buy insurance, which essentially is going to kill it.
Well, I think so. I think it's going to go a long ways towards killing it.
The biggest thing, this is number one, and for good reason, is judicial picks. Now, we all know about Gorsuch, which was a good pick.
That was huge.
That's Supreme Court. But the reality is most decisions are made at the lower court level. Mm-hmm. And he has put a lot of people, conservatives, into lower courts. And these are for life. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about, assuming they're not all 90 years old, you're talking about that legacy will go on 20, 30 years in some cases. So that's why the liberals are so shaken up. Right,
and sometimes those lower federal court judges are eventually considered for Supreme Court. And,
exactly.
Various other very important positions.
It's like the Farm League.
Right, exactly. It's the farm team.
So, yeah, that's what really shakes him up. And the other big thing, there's 7 things, but the other big one is pulling out Paris Climate Agreement.
Yeah, they spent more than a page on it.
I hadn't seen this number, and we're going to break here in a second, but I hadn't seen this number, but it's really well worth saying. The big con at the heart of Paris is even the supporters concede that meeting all of its commitments won't prevent more than, you ready? 0.17 of a degree Celsius increase in global temperatures by 2100. Far less than the 2 degrees that's supposedly needed to avert climate doom. So if you go through all of this stuff, which is an economic disaster,
right,
less than 0.17 of a degree influence?
Right.
I walked into my office, and I've got a temperature gauge in there, Mm-hmm. And when I walked in, it went up 2 degrees. Body heat raised it 2 degrees.
Sure.
Okay? This is insanity. You know what? He's doing a good job. We're going to take a break. We'll hit a couple of these things when we come back. We're running behind as we always do. We'll hit a couple of these things when we come back because they're worth it. The whole thing about ISIS, for instance, is really good. So we're going to talk about what's happening with ISIS when we return. All that and more when we return with more on Target Radio. Hi, I'm David Lombardo, co-host of On Target Radio, and I'd like to offer you a partnership opportunity. For over 4 years, On Target Radio covered the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech on AM 560 The Answer. But a 1-minute commercial was $200, making it tough to find enough sponsors. So last November, we left AM 560 and began podcasting. There's a learning curve to podcasting, and we've worked through the kinks and would now like to make you an offer. You can have a 60-second audio or video commercial for as little as $25 a week. We can also offer fellow conservatives their own radio or video podcast for as little as $100 a week with equipment and technical personnel included. You provide the content and host, plus get 6 free minutes of commercial time you can sell yourself. If you'd like to be an On Target Radio sponsor or explore the possibility of having your own show, call me at 815-741-3474, and let's explore the possibilities together.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
This segment is brought to you by the Will County Grassroots Division of the Illinois State Rifle Association. Join us at 7 p.m. Wednesday, January 17th at the Silver Dollar Restaurant in Elwood, Illinois. Bill Potts will be the guest speaker for the January 17th meeting. Potts is organizing a statewide effort to identify and bring together small groups of pro-Second Amendment ISRA members to visit each of the state representatives and senators in their local offices. The objective is to have local constituents talk to their respective representatives in the Illinois legislature about pro-Second Amendment issues. Join us Wednesday, January 17th at 7 p.m. at the Silver Dollar Restaurant in Elwood, Illinois.
When Trump was campaigning, he was very vocal about ISIS and the way we were handling it, all that, and he kept saying, we're going to defeat ISIS, we're going to defeat ISIS. Interestingly enough, he pretty much has done that. The problem is the ideology is not going away.
Right.
But in terms of people, a significant reduction. They lost in one battle. They've lost close to 6,000 fighters. I mean, they really have dropped down. And one of the most significant things, we got Mosul back. That was it became an ISIS stronghold. We took it back from them. They had this town, El Raqqa, or however Raqqa, whatever it is, that was their capital of their caliphate.
Right.
Not anymore, it isn't. Ran them out of Dodge.
Yeah.
So when he became president, there were some 45,000 ISIS sympathizers in that region, and they're down to less than 1,000. So, but the problem that people have to understand really is you can kill off a whole bunch of people, but if the ideology continues to exist, there's a new crop being grown.
Well, and it's just like, it's part of the global war on terror, which is difficult because it's not, we declare war on this country. It's
right.
It crosses borders. It's,
exactly.
It's amorphous. It's not as specific as an old-fashioned war, like we declare war on Germany or something like that. I mean, that was the old way. That was much more straightforward. This is not that.
Yeah. We had much the same problem in Vietnam because you couldn't tell who was a good guy and who was a bad guy because they were all the same people.
Right.
So and that's tough. It's a very tough thing to do. One of the things they make in the 7 best things that he's done is and I think this gets really overplayed. The House passed the National Concealed Carry Reciprocity. Now, I think it's overplayed because nobody thought it wouldn't pass through the House.
Right. Almost the entire House had co-sponsored.
Right. I mean, I'm happy. I think it's a great thing. It hadn't happened in the past. That's great. But it was totally predictable.
Well, it's kind of like in the years leading up to Trump becoming president, the House voted numerous times to repeal Obamacare.
Right.
But without the Senate taking action, it's completely symbolic.
Exactly. Now, one of the things that I really was happy to see, and I don't know how many people wrap their brain around this, but we have had past presidents, Obama's one, Bush, both Bushes, I think, give lip service to accepting Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Mm-hmm. I'm a big Israeli guy.
Right.
When I was in Vietnam in '67, we were slogging through this whole thing. That's when the 6 Days War happened. And I remember reading in the paper, so here's this little country outnumbered, like 10 to 1. Mm-hmm. They were going to get absolutely wiped off the face of the earth, and they kicked their asses. Mm-hmm. They didn't start the fight, they finished the fight. So we're reading this in Vietnam and going, oh, yes, yes, these people have class. And ever since then, I've loved the Israelis. So it's their country. They have a right to name any city they want as their capital.
Well, yeah.
But it's the UN. See,
that's
the
how
UN.
this works.
Right.
Yeah.
So we've had presidents, like I said, both Republicans and Democrats, who said, we're going to move our embassy into Jerusalem, where is the rightful capital. And then they've never done it. Trump's going to do it, which I think is great, because Israel has been our ally for a long, long time. And then tax reform. Is this the biggest lie that the Democrats have? What they say about tax reform is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's really funny. Did you see the article I posted on Facebook about, I think it was CBS, they were going to have on the evening news, they were going to show people in 3 different circumstances, supposedly average, people from slightly different socioeconomic positions.
And they were going to show how bad this was.
They were going to show, it's bad for the single mom, working paycheck to living paycheck to paycheck. It's bad for the affluent couple with no kids. It's bad for the family with kids. They're going to show every single one of them saved money. As they did the math to try to put, I'm assuming they did not actually air the piece, that they were trying to put it together. I'm assuming they didn't do it live, because that would be folly.
It makes you wonder how they run these shows.
Yeah.
I thought they did do it live.
Oh, maybe they did. I mean, otherwise, maybe we wouldn't know about it otherwise.
Exactly. And it begs the question, do you not do any research before you do it?
Right, exactly. Nobody did the math ahead of time to find out.
That's bizarre.
Yeah.
But tax reform, this is it's a $1.5 trillion tax reform plan. It's the biggest thing that's happened, I don't know, probably ever.
It's like they said they haven't done a real tax reform since like the 80s or something like that. It's been decades.
The thing was, early on, they floated the concept that you should be able to do your taxes on a postcard.
Yeah.
That's what I was waiting for,
right.
the postcard. My postcard never came.
Well, the thing is, the only way you're going to get that is if they go to like flat tax.
Ding, 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 ding. Okay.
Yeah, even fair tax. Fair tax is you don't file taxes at all, because the IRS doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
So fair tax is,
But,
I shouldn't say most, a lot of people's preference, a lot of very conservative people's preference. But flat tax.
But somehow you have to collect a tax.
Flat tax would be fair tax is sales tax, is what it is. It would be a national sales tax. So it's so it's collected all year long,
right.
and then you don't get any back.
See, they talk about that, though, in terms of being a regressive tax, because
no, it's
you poor people who don't have a lot of money still have to buy milk and all that sort of stuff. So I mean, they're forced to be taxed on things.
Well, I don't necessarily know that food, because typically states with sales tax, the food is taxed at a lower rate.
Okay, so I picked
significantly
a bad one.
lower rate.
A car. People need transportation.
Okay.
Now, obviously, if I'm Donald Trump, I'm buying an expensive car, and so I'm going to pay more in tax.
Sure.
But you do have people who can barely get by that still need transportation, particularly if they want to go to a gun range and live in Chicago. Notice how I slipped that in? That's pretty sneaky, don't you think?
It's very nice.
Yeah, I thought
Clever.
I'm drinking champagne. I'm eating popcorn. I can say anything now.
Clever.
I'm on a roll.
Well, I mean, fair tax is... The nice thing about fair tax is you can actually control. You have some measure of control over what you pay.
That's true.
You buy a cheaper car. You have a garden, so you don't have to pay tax on food. Certain types of food. You shop at garage sales. There are ways to get out of paying if we had a fair tax, and so that's why some very, very conservative type of people prefer the fair tax idea over a flat tax.
The economy has clearly picked up.
Oh my gosh!
Clearly picked up.
Oh my gosh!
How do they explain
Cannot
that?
believe. Oh, I want to go back for a second though about the tax thing.
That's fine. I'll drink.
Drink up. I clicked on an article in Forbes the other day, and so it was a little over my head. I didn't quite, it was very technical as far as, the math that they were doing on the taxes. But it sounds like people like me who have a sole proprietorship, who I run a business, but I'm the only employee, and all the money goes to me. They call it a pass-through business. Right. And it sounds like they're really doing something to try to fix the tax problem that I find myself in of every single year. Even though I have a normal job and they withhold taxes, I never ever, I still have to pay huge amounts of money at the end of the year because of my pass-through business, because of the money that comes in that's not taxed, and I don't pay Social Security on it. So then I have to pay my portion and the employer's portion at the end of the year. So I get hit with the big tax bill.
I didn't know you were worth money.
I keep telling you that.
I thought you were this poor waif. I was taking you in, just, helping you, giving you bottled water and stuff.
I was going to say, I brought the sparkling wine, I brought the popcorn, I brought the chips and dip.
I assume you got it on your what's the card?
I brought the party, my link card.
I thought you got it on your link card. I'm buying her. Bought her a blanket. Well, I got it at Goodwill, but I got her a blanket. I'm thinking she's.
You got it free from the Army, right?
Well, not exactly free. I stole it, but anyway.
Same difference.
Oh, look, there's a rotating light out in the driveway. Anyway, but the economy is clearly, they're saying in November 228,000 jobs were created, 261,000 jobs a month before that.
And the money that people spent on Christmas presents was, I can't remember what the percentage was, but it like they said they haven't had a percentage like that in like over 10 years.
Yeah. It's
consumer confidence is like an all-time high.
It is. It's interesting, and of course, you don't read about that.
No.
None of that's in the paper.
They don't cover that on the morning news.
It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And the other very interesting thing is, he's polling better all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I read a statistic that at this time in Obama's presidency, 11 months in or whatever, that his numbers are exactly the same as what Obama's were. So it's
he and the Messiah shared the same numbers at the same time.
Yeah.
You can say he says what he thinks, and maybe there are times when that might not be his best option. I get that.
He could have a little more finesse. He could have a little more decorum. The funny thing is, it's funny that you get to that level and be so crass in many ways. But the fact of the matter is, he's kicking ass and taking names.
Well,
and he can really, as far as I'm concerned, he can say on Twitter whatever the hell he wants.
I said this to somebody the other day. I hope we get to the point we don't need a president like this, but right now we do. All right, we'll come back. We're going to wrap it up, but we're going to talk a little bit more about patriotism. That and more when we return with more on Target Radio.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. The On Target Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invite you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com.
Or call 815-741-3474. That's 815-741-3474. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
In need of a ride to O'Hare or Midway Airport? Well, look no further. The Yellow Checker Cab Company is the cab company for you. With the Yellow Checker Cab Company, you will always be greeted by a friendly face and arrive safely and on time for your flight. Start your trip off right by taking advantage of one of their limos, shuttle vans, cabs, or courtesy cars. And airport trips are not all they specialize in. This 24-hour cab service will pick you up anytime, any day, for any occasion. From bachelorette parties to school dances to just a night out with friends. Yellow Checker Cab Company has the best rates in town. So sit back, relax, and leave the driving to the professionals. Once you experience their fast and affordable cab service, you'll be a customer for life. When it comes to cab companies, be sure to choose Yellow Checker Cab because you have the right to expect certain things from your cab company. For further information or to book your trip today, call 815-744-2900. That's 815-744-2900.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life. Stand by. Here's Gretchen with your action items for the week.
The Illinois State Rifle Association invites you to participate in Winter Wars 14, their annual high-power rifle romp in the snow at the ISRA range in Bondfield. The Winter Wars match will be Saturday, January 13th, starting at 9 a.m. This is not a fiercely contested event for finely tuned match rifles. This is an opportunity for the milsurp rifle enthusiast to shake off cabin fever and get back in touch with some of his or her favorite relic battle rifles for a little fun and a little frostbite. There will be door prizes, not score prizes, and you will probably receive one if you brave the cold. The event includes 2 shooting matches, chili, hot drinks, and a bonfire. The entry fee is $25 if you register by January 3rd. After January 3rd, add $5. Please mail your entry to the ISRA office in Chatsworth, or you may register the day of the event. If you want to be a match contender, some of the rifles you may use include M1 rifles and carbines, Mosin Nagant, models 1903 or 1903A3, 1917 Enfield, SMLE, or KAR-98K. To see the complete list and description of the event, go to the calendar on isra.org or reach out to me and I will email it to you. The following Safer USA class is at our facility in Waterman, Saturday and Sunday, January 6th and 7th, Illinois Concealed Carry 1. This 16-hour class will be taught by David and Gretchen and meets the training requirements for Illinois Concealed Carry, as well as Florida and Arizona. To sign up for classes, go to saferusa.com and click on Register.
We have a whole bunch of really, good material that I probably should have put at the front end and back end.
Oh, maybe next week.
That I just want to hit a couple of them, though.
Push it to next week.
A study was done about patriotism, and, for all the stuff you hear on TV, you got to remember that if you see 200 people out in the street burning police cars, there's how many? 500 million other people who aren't out there burning police cars?
Like 320.
300, whatever it is. So this points out that a lot of people who took the survey consider themselves patriotic, and they listed things like individual right to comes with personal responsibilities. They're proud to be an American. They believe and obey the Constitution. I mean, this kind of stuff that we talk about, the kind of stuff that we think. And apparently there's a lot more people that believe that than the news would allow you to believe. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was certainly worth it. And it wasn't based on color or gender. I mean, it was sort of across the board. That would have deserved more coverage, but no, down the toilet. Because there's other stuff. One of my favorite things is the United Nations, as you well know. I have warm and fuzzies about the United Nations.
Yes.
Nikki Haley, whom I absolutely adore, that woman. I really do. She's like this bomb. It just sits there and ticks. And then...
I know, she's like a pit bull. I mean.
Oh, yeah. She just blows up in their face. So...
She's relentless.
They kept saying over and over again about this embassy in Jerusalem thing in the UN. They kept saying over and over, if you vote against this, We're not going to be happy, okay? They just kept saying that, and they voted against him. So what did they do? Cut $285 million out of the UN's budget. And the commentary is very interesting. Nikki Haley, we will no longer let the generosity of the American people be taken advantage of or remain unchecked. The historic reduction in spending, this $285,000, in addition to many other moves toward a more efficient and accountable UN, is a big step in the right direction. And then Trump said, as I recall, I think this quotes Trump, they take hundreds of millions of dollars, even billions of dollars, and then they vote against us. Well, we're watching those votes. Let them vote against us. We'll save a lot. We don't care. And Haley says, we're not asking for much. As the largest donor to the UN, we expect the sovereign decisions of America and its ally Israel to be respected. And if the United Nations can't do that much, then maybe we'll just take our money elsewhere. How many Americans are going, oh, just take the whole building and push it into the, into the ocean?
I like the title of the article. UN slammed U.S. for supporting Israel, so we cut their allowance.
I absolutely love it. And then here's the one that this would be comical, except for the possible repercussions. When we were back at WIND, I mean, this is years ago, we were talking about there's UN troops in the U.S. They train. They got. Remember that we covered this.
Yeah.
They would see convoys of UN vehicles driving out west and stuff. It's not like anybody's making it up. They have pictures of it. Well, would it be fair to say that Chicago has a crime problem?
Yes.
I think that's fair. So one Cook County commissioner, Richard Boykin, wants the UN to take over in Cook County. Peacekeepers, like Somalia. You see how well that worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just set aside for the fact that the UN peacekeepers are notorious for raping women and children and killing people and all that. Just brush that to the side as inconsequential for the moment. Those are foreign troops occupying American territory. Under duress, putting us under duress.
Well, I was going to say, why would you ask them to do that? That doesn't make sense.
Because he's a moron?
Well, right.
Now, just think about this. If all of a sudden Cook County has blue UN vehicles all over, and they're setting up checkpoints and where are you going and all of that stuff, and they're armed, there's a whole lot of Americans who are not going to go for that. That is not going to work well for them.
Right.
And I would not at all be surprised if they didn't start picking those guys off. That's a foreign military occupying the United States.
Right. It's untenable. I mean, I don't see it happening, to be honest with you. I mean, this is one loose wing nut who is asking for this or suggesting this. I don't see Emmanuel.
But it's Cook County, it's not Chicago.
Getting down with it. I don't see. Yeah, but you know how it is. I mean, even though he is the mayor of Chicago and this is the Cook County board, I still there's a lot of interdependence between them, and there's a lot of contact, I think, between them. I don't see the Chicago, city council, and I don't see them signing off on that.
Take this scenario. What is a major objective of progressive liberals in terms of what they would like to do to us? Is that obscure enough?
It works.
Who is they? The UN?
No, liberals. What's the one thing they constantly keep trying to do to us?
Oh, disarm us.
Disarm us. Okay. So what happens if you have the UN troops in here, and we start picking them off, and there's now there's door to door, right? That's a reason to call more UN troops.
Right.
And that's a reason to declare martial law, and that's a reason to go around and collect everybody's guns.
Right.
Now, remember my rant. I said, don't be a conspiracy theorist, because They're doing this stuff. This stuff's happening.
Because we have a corner on the conspiracy theory market.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
right.
why. Let's just be honest.
Well, you drink enough champagne on a show, and anything's possible. Let's be honest.
We need to drink something a little harder than that.
Yeah, well, you do. I don't have to. This works for me. This interesting combination. I got chocolate, champagne,
Yeah, I
popcorn.
don't know how you can eat candy and drink sparkling wine, to be honest.
Well, I take the wrapper off, and then I put it in my mouth.
I think it goes pretty good.
You think? Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it
would.
would
Well,
work.
you want a piece of candy? No. Have you ever? You've never seen her teaching in class, have you?
No, but I've heard stories about it.
You heard stories about the candy?
I've heard the stories.
She throws candy at people. She asks a question. If they get it right, she throws candy. I go into the room and they're going, I mean, they're like puppies. It's like Pavlov conditioning them.
And they love me for it.
And the next day I follow up and I don't give them candy. And they're like grumpy and,
Well, I straight out tell them, I'm like, the ironic thing about you guys being so into this is that this is publicly available candy. This is not special candy.
I know. I buy it.
I know.
I feed her habit.
Safer USA is supplying the candy. It's publicly available. I just happen to be throwing it at you. That's the other funny thing is I don't necessarily throw it to them. I throw it at them.
I know that.
Sometimes I do it if they're sleeping too. If they sleep, I throw candy. I aim for.
Like the nuns did with erasers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like when you go to the Japanese restaurant and they, toss the shrimp at you. People seem to like
Yeah,
having stuff
they
thrown
flip
at
it up,
them. So.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. She doesn't like shrimp.
Yeah.
So,
If any of my high school teachers are watching, I actually learned this from one or more of my high school teachers, that they used to do that, and the students thought it was great. And essentially,
throw candy at students?
Yeah.
The nuns threw erasers at us and chalk.
Yeah, well, in public school, it's a little bit more of a reward scenario rather than a punishment
This was
scenario.
a reward. They did that instead of killing us. We thought that was a positive thing.
Well, again, public school is a lot different than
There's
Catholic
nothing
school.
like seeing a nun with a black habit and that long rosary that hung almost to the floor. Was just kind of walking down
Winding
the aisle.
up.
Yeah. Whack. There's an article here, Soros-funded liberals are hypocrites and bigots. We don't have to cover that. We know that. That's not a problem, right? Yeah, that's not a problem.
Yeah, we already knew about that.
But we do get to my favorite subject. And then right after that, there's one that I can't even believe. My favorite subject, though, NFL cancels Sunday Night Football. I cannot possibly overstate how thrilled I am to see these people tanking.
Is this true?
It is true. Now,
just week 17.
yeah, but I mean, you just stop and think of how much that's worth in dollars.
Mm-hmm.
You go, well, it's not worth a lot because the stadiums are thinning out.
Well, I was going to say, that's the reason they're doing it is because it's not. I mean,
it's not.
if you
not
can't sell
economically.
if you can't sell advertising and you can't fill seats,
right?
Then you can't sell concessions and you can't sell parking and then no, you can't. I mean, really, it's T-shirts, it's shirts and jerseys.
You got to ask yourself, when Goodell goes to bed at night and turns the light out, does he lay there and go, "What the f did I do?"
Yeah.
Can you remember that? He gave that big, short, but we support our players. They have a right to do this. Yeah? Well, now what's that? 8 months ago, whatever it is? How does he feel about that today?
Yeah.
He's painting himself into a corner.
Right.
Literally, what's he going to do?
Mm-hmm.
If he turns on the players after this, they'll crucify him. If he doesn't turn on them, we'll crucify him. He's an idiot.
Oh yeah, the whole.
And they just rehired him. They just gave him another contract.
Right, I saw that. Yeah, the whole thing's going in the shit can.
I'm glad. There's nothing I would be happy.
I saw a headline and I didn't read the story because it kind of made me roll my eyes, but I'll let everybody roll their eyes collectively. I saw an email subject line that said, maybe coming soon to your town, the Make America Great Again Football League.
One last quickie, and then we got to go. This is so over the top, it's hard for me to wrap my brain around. But so many of these people have gone into Germany these immigrants rather, that they have opened up animal brothels. Can you even wrap your brain around this?
No.
This is something I would think would be in the Boston whatever the heck, above the fold, okay? And yet, there it is. They've been going and bothering people's sheep in their barns, for God's sake. This is what we want to let in. Anyway, we'd like to thank you. On that note,
No segue.
What is a segue? Well, from sheep to yeah. But I thank you for taking the time to listen tonight. And we'd appreciate it if you would tell your friends about On Target Radio. We have champagne.
We'd also like to thank our engineer, Eric Allen, and our sponsors, the Will County chapter of the Illinois State Rifle Association, Yellow Checker of Joliet, my editor, Creative Business Services, the Aurora Sportsman's Club, and Safer USA.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Happy New Year,
Happy New
everybody.
Year. Here's a toast to you.